Morning, this is your stat sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this is an exit ticket intro to areas. It says directions refer to the scenarios from the warm-up to answer the questions below. Well, our first question, based on your decision in scenario one, what type of error could we have committed? Well, let's go look at scenario one. Well, first off, we rejected the null. If you reject the null, the only type of error you could have committed is a type one, but let's go through what that means. So in this case, we had a credit card company with more than 35,000 card holders. That's our population with a current mean balance of 2,500. So there's our population mean of 2,500. The company gave free miles to a simple random sample of 36. There's our sample size. And found the sample mean to be 2542. Assume the population standard deviation is 109. Because it's the population standard deviation, this makes it a z-test. So we ran a z-test and we calculated this p-value. But we need to pay attention as to what our null and alternative was. Well, they wanted to see if card usage had increased. Increase is the key word. Well, originally we had card usage of 2,500 and we wanted to see if it increased. Well, our decision was to reject the null. So I rejected this and I believe this. So when you reject the null, the only type of error that you could have committed is a type 1 error. You might not have committed any error. You might have made the correct decision. But if you reject, the only type you could have made is a type 1. You're not assured that you made a type 1. So anytime you see a type 1 error or type 2 was committed, we can pretty much eliminate those answers because it's not going to be that. A type 1 may have committed, yes, because we rejected the $2,500 claim and believed the alternative. That's a type 1, could be a type 1. All right. A type 2, this only happens if we fail to reject. This only happens if we fail to reject. So remember, type 2, failed to. Well, we didn't fail to reject, so the answer to this is type 1. All right, moving on to the next one. Our next scenario, a nutritionist claims that the average loss for a new diet plan is 8 pounds. So there's our claim. Our claim is 8 pounds. And they want to conduct a hypothesis test at alpha equal 1% to determine the mean weight loss is greater than 8 pounds. All right. And in this case, we ran the test and we got a p-value greater than our alpha. Anytime your p-value is greater than alpha, you fail to reject. If you fail to reject, okay, that means I believe this. I believe, or I can't reject the null. I don't believe this. I cannot reject the null. All right. So I'm believing the null. And anytime you believe the null, the only type of error you could have made is a type 2. All right. Remember, fail to, type 2. So the answer to scenario 2 is fail to reject. Now, the type 1 was committed, type 2 was committed. We can get rid of anything that says committed because we don't know if an error was made or not. Failing to reject might have been the right decision. Maybe they're not losing more than 8 pounds. We don't know. If an error is committed, we'd fix it. We don't know if an error was committed. It could have happened by random chance alone. So anytime you fail to reject, the only type of error that you may have committed is a type 2. All right, looking at scenario 3. A pit crew claims that its mean pit time was during the Daytona is less than 13 seconds. They had a random sample and found a sample mean of 12.9. Okay, now this ended up being a t statistic because we had a sample standard deviation. Sample standard deviation makes us a t, so this one's a little bit different. But we ran it and we got a p-value less than alpha. Well, our decision was to reject the null. Well, what was our null hypothesis? Our null hypothesis was that it was 13 seconds. Well, we rejected this and we believe this. That's the decision we made. We rejected this and we believe this. And if you reject, the only type of error that you may have committed is a type 1. Remember, anything that says was committed, we don't know. So those eliminated, and because we rejected, it had to be a type 1. It can't be a type 2. Failed to, now remember, type 2 is a fail to. Well, we didn't fail to reject, so there can't be that. We rejected. The only type of error that we could have committed is a type 1. All right, I hope this helped with the errors. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.